So if you have watched my previous video, you know that I have decided to sell my 701. If you're wondering about the reasons, just go ahead and watch the video. I will share the link in the corner, top right corner. But I have also observations from the process of selling the bike. So my Husky is quite heavily modified, not in terms of the engine, but it has a lot of mods that were focused on preparing this bike for adventure riding. So what do I mean by saying that I have worked on this motorcycle to be adventure ready? To be honest, it was not really related to comfort, because as I already said in the previous video, comfort is not something that I particularly care about too much. But what I care about is not being stranded somewhere far away from home with something that I could have avoided. Dzień dobry. So for example, the engine side covers and the rear brake lever is something that the 690 and 701 riders complain a lot when they have a even tiny crash. Like the factory lever is made out of plastic almost, yeah. It bends so easily and it is so sharp that it can punch a hole in the clutch cover, and then you lose oil, engine and engine oil and so on. So I was thinking about things like that. Another example, like the fuel cap. The factory fuel cap is really nice. It has the lock in it, but the lock is so tight and so hard to maneuver that you very often see on the forums that people are breaking the key. So I have also replaced that. Not to be stranded somewhere in Bosnia or Romania with a broken key. And so on and so on. Like the tower. Tower is here basically for a much better light. So there is a fantastic LED lamp that replaced the factory one that is rubbish in terms of the light. I also have a higher mounting point for the navigation. I don't have to look down and take my eyes off the road when riding this motorcycle, and so on, and some basic wind protection and so on. But I found over the process of selling the bike that people want a bike in the most factory form possible. So even when some things are obvious that they will need to take care of some things if they want to take this bike off-road or have an adventure on it. It's still a struggle for them to understand the cost behind those additional parts. And somebody told me, just take off all of the mods, replace it with the factory stuff, and sell it on the Facebook forum instead of just selling with the bike. That's interesting. I would much more prefer to buy already a modified bike from an owner that has an experience with it. That owner knew and had the reasons for every modification. And maybe just take off one or two things that you don't care about, but to be able to purchase it with a much lower price, already installed, already explained the reasons behind it. But no, that is an interesting observation, and I wonder how it was with your resales. Have you had any other observations, like if you spend quite a lot of time and spend a lot of money on mods? Do people that came to see your bike appreciated this, or they were like, nah, I prefer to have a factory state bike? And with the 701s or 690s, it's probably kind of hard to find 2-year-old bikes with no modifications, as almost every owner knows that some mods are just a good idea. I am not saying they are absolutely necessary. They are just good ideas if you think about possible scenarios of what could happen if you don't do a certain mod, like with the key in the fuel cap, or with the brake lever punching a hole through the clutch cover. And because of that, I have also put a note in the ad that I can return this bike to almost factory-like state with a factory brake lever, and I already placed the factory goopy mirrors back on. But that was, I guess, a bit of surprise for me. Yeah, people see the mods, they understand the value behind them, and when I calculated the overall cost of the mods, it was high, especially for the tower and the exhaust, the HDS. Right, this is the dumping system for the handlebar. Heated grips. I don't know. For me, this is an important thing to have when going for multiple days ride over mountains. And sometimes also I use it during commuting. So for me this is an important part, but I have the original handlebars, I can put them back on. Interestingly. So that was just a very short video about my observation from the process of selling 701. It also makes me think about the mods that I will be doing to the next bike. Will there be as many as with this bike? I don't think so, as the new bike that I have selected is like, there are probably maybe 2 or 3 things that I will do to it. Not much. Dzień dobry. Czy ja mogę przez kask, czy zdejmować? Dobra. Dobra, już działamy. O, tak. Dziękuję bardzo. What you saw was a little bonus. I was just stopped by a police for a alco test, if I am sober. It took about 30 seconds. They just asked me to blow into some kind of machine, and like 2 seconds later they say, okay, thank you. And I think that's a good thing. We really don't need drunk drivers on the streets. Okay, thank you for watching. If you found this useful or interesting, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye. Cheers.